Most people have no idea how their own brain works. That includes the chemicals that lead to long-lasting monogamous relationships, true contentment, and a ramped-up female bedroom drive that keeps a couple happy for life. Now, female desire, happiness, and faithful romantic relationships are not about guesswork or luck. There's a science dedicated to measuring the variables and helping you build optimized relationships that meet all of your needs for life. So for the last several years, you have heard me talk about attachment theory, which is one major component of this field of relationship science. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain on additional scientific details that you must know about if you want to foster the most fruitful and sustainable relationships while finding true joy in your life. I am Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. I know we've had tens of thousands of new followers come flooding in. I am so glad that you are here, and I am ready to show you how to build loving, successful relationships for life. For all of you new subscribers and new members, thank you for your support. I appreciate you so much for supporting this channel and helping me do what I do. So let's get right into the biological truth today behind desire, love, and attachment. Now, the idea that chemicals or fluids drive much of our human emotional experience is honestly nothing new. The Grecian physician Hippocrates is credited around 400 BC with inventing the four humors theory that supposedly governed our moods and our thoughts. Blood, yellow bile, black bile, phlegm. Yeah, it's pretty gross. But back then, this is what they felt drove most of our moods, our thoughts, and our experience. Around 160 AD, another scientist named Galen attributed more emotions to these humors. Sanguine, such being optimistic and social. Choleric, being short-tempered and irritable. Melancholic, being analytical and quiet. And phlegmatic, being relaxed and peaceful. Now, this model stayed in place for so long, from 160 AD up, that even Shakespeare referenced it in his plays in the late 1400s. It eventually was disproved in the 1850s with the rise of germ theory. But we quickly discovered psychological chemicals that explain much of what humorism had tried to explain. We call these things neurotransmitters, hormones, and so on. These govern our experience. To a large extent, they drive our feelings and our human emotions. Now, Dr. Sue Carter from the Kinsey Institute, her research on bonding hormones, in particular oxytocin and vasopressin in fear and mating, really underscores a tremendous amount of what we don't even know yet or are just beginning to learn about how we even bond to each other in friendships, in romance, and in family. Okay, so to understand the majority of human bonding and to build monogamous relationships that are full of desire and satisfaction, you need to know the following 6 chemicals. And I'm going to explain each in detail. We're going to make this real easy, okay? Many of you have heard some of these before on my other things. This is a recap for all my new viewers out there. Glad you're here. Let's talk. The number one thing you need to know about is cortisol. All of us at all times are always experiencing ongoing tremendous stress. Cortisol is the biological manifestation of that stress in our system. It is supposed to amp us up in times of danger, make us vigilant, make us move faster, think faster, go faster, run. Cortisol is designed to help us react to that stress. It often goes along with adrenaline, especially as the danger increases. These are the driving forces that make us move faster when we are afraid. Cortisol, stress, fear, all of that floods our system. Now, because we're always feeling some sort of stress, it's like gravity pulling us down. They always have a stress upon us. We have other factors in our brain that are supposed to manage that. One big piece of this is oxytocin. They call it the love hormone. When you come out and mom holds you close and skin-to-skin contact, she feeds you, she cares for you, she strokes your face, she kisses your forehead, your little baby, you flood with oxytocin. She does too. Oxytocin makes you feel warm, safe, and content with the other person in particular. It forms an association to that person. It makes you feel loved. Now, when you feel loved and you have high oxytocin, it also helps your immune system function better. It does a lot of things. But one thing it does is release GABA, G-A-B-A, gamma-aminobutyric acid. As it releases GABA, GABA suppresses cortisol. This makes you resistant against that constant stress factor around you all the time. This is like something pushing back against gravity. Now I'm not going to feel gravity anymore. Cool. You won't feel the cortisol and constant stress anymore. It suppresses it. So if you have a stressful experience, your brain says, whoa. I don't have to be afraid. People love me. They care about me. I'm going to be okay. As you have this experience, GABA helps you release melatonin, helps you sleep at night, Amazing stuff. Cortisol, oxytocin, GABA. GABA also helps your muscles relax through using more magnesium more efficiently through your body. If you get a lot of muscle cramps, a lot of twitches, stuff like that, could actually be low oxytocin, low GABA, low magnesium as well. But then high cortisol will really start doing that because it drinks up your magnesium extra fast. Now, oxytocin is the love hormone and released in the absence of stress when you're in a soothing environment. What if when you're in a stressful environment? What if you fix that stress together with another human? What if you're starving to death out in the wild and you and another guy, you hunt an animal, you kill it, you eat it, you survive together, you high five and you sit around the campfire roasting it and eating it. Do we have a bonding chemical for that? Yes. It's called vasopressin. Men have more receptors for this than women do, but women also have those receptors as well. This makes your brain say, that person's my ally. During hard times, I should go toward them and solve problems with them because they make it so much easier to manage stress. So again, makes you more resilient against that cortisol effect. Vasopressin bonding makes men desire more emotional intimacy with the woman in their life, with their wife, hopefully, right? It helps you feel that connection and makes you want to bond. If you've seen World War II veterans, they're like 80, 90 years old, but they meet each other, they stand up, they hug, they cry, and they're like, it's like right back there when they're 20 years old. That's the power of vasopressin bonding right there. There's also serotonin. Now, serotonin is a huge neurotransmitter in our system. It's one of many, but this is the result of feeling close, connected, at peace, relaxed, fulfilled. It makes us feel contentment. It allows us to feel what we would call happiness. It allows us to feel joy, pleasure, real long-term satisfaction. Very important that we talk about that. Now, the short, cheaper version of that is called dopamine. Dopamine's a hit when you drink something like sugary drink, you have a quick ice cream cone, you see a naked picture on the internet, you get a whoa boost, you buy something off Amazon, you win a little award, something like that, or something goes right, something feels good, you get a tiny amount of pleasure, your brain says, whoa, that felt good, remember that, come back to that when we need a good feeling in the future. Okay, serotonin is long-term connection, great connection, taking a long walk, fulfillment, conversation, intimacy, good long-term nutrition for your brain. Dopamine, really short-term. It's just meant to remind you and be behavioral conditioning. Okay, that's it. Dopamine also is habit forming. So the more of it you start getting, the more you need. Your system starts to kind of shut down on that and not produce as much. So you need more and more and more and more. It has to escalate. Okay. Now, unlike Humer's theory, we can actually see, measure these and impact these chemicals with various things. So we know that they're real. Now, what do these chemicals mean for your monogamous relationships, your bedroom fun, all of that? First, let's talk about where things go wrong, okay? I want you to see where things go wrong so we can then talk about how to make things go right. The biggest thing we can talk about right now, the easiest one to look at is avoidantly attached people. They come into this world in some sort of family or structure or system that is hurtful. Nobody's going to support them. They have to be resilient against stress. They have to really deal with stress constantly so they're primed for it. They don't get the oxytocin because the cortisol shuts down their reception of oxytocin. They won't get it. Okay, they don't get that bonding intimacy. An avoidant man who's laying down with his wife, he's laying there like vibrating in place, and she's like, "Oh, isn't this so nice?" And he's like, "Yes, this is wonderful." And he's thinking about all his risks at work, his stock portfolio, the guy he's got to fire tomorrow, if this guy's going to cheat him out of something, if that guy's, he's thinking about all these risks. He can never really relax. Okay, he's not going to get the oxytocin. Because he doesn't get the oxytocin, he's not going to get the GABA that he needs, which means he's not going to be building all the brain chemicals he needs to resist cortisol, but he's not going to get the melatonin to sleep at night. He's going to overuse magnesium and burn through it and be stiff and crampy in all of his different body parts, eye twitches, right? He's not going to get the vasopressin bonding that he needs because he's going to push people away when he goes to solve a problem. He's going to solve it alone over and over and over, lone wolf mentality. He's also not going to get the serotonin he needs. But usually with avoidant men, they crave serotonin. So they have like a 3-hour gym routine that they do 5 days a week and say, I'm a wreck if I don't go to the gym. But they're scraping the bottom of the barrel for serotonin because they have almost no meaningful human interaction. This is called the dopamine cortisol pathway. They are endlessly on the dopamine, cortisol, dopamine, cortisol, dopamine, cortisol. I'm always flooding with cortisol. I am always high performing. I'm always on the edge. And the only way to come down, dopamine, 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 dopamine. This impacts their behaviors. Number one, they run away from relationships, not because they're afraid, but because they don't see a benefit to them. At 5 months, the novelty dopamine of a new partner, new body parts, new excitement, all kinds of stuff wears off. They either have to escalate with all kinds of additions to the bedroom, or they have to leave and find a different partner. That's what they think. That's all they understand. Okay. Now, this impacts those behaviors because they're binging dopamine. If you've ever seen an avoidant man cruising Instagram, liking naked pictures of girls and then going on Tinder just to look, they mean nothing to me. I'm just looking. That's usually what they're doing, is just binging dopamine. They usually know it. They don't like it, but they don't know another option. Okay. Now, anxiously attached people have got oxytocin in childhood, but then had it pulled away. They got some, had it pulled away, and their brain blamed themselves and said, I must be doing something to make people not love me. People can love me, people can give love, but I'm not worthy of it because they keep taking it away. Okay. They also have low GABA, so they're very low resilience against stress. They have low vasopressin because they don't think they can solve problems. So they look for people to solve problems for them. And they have very low serotonin because they're always scared. They're always afraid. They don't really have the open, intimate conversations they need. They might get little bumps of serotonin here and there, but very little. Now, they do dopamine binge as well, but usually in smaller ways, spending money, watching porn, playing video games. Escapism is usually their dopamine binging. This impacts their behaviors because they're afraid to open up to other people. They think that they don't deserve love. They're always stressed out. They have a lot of panic attacks, and they don't even know that they're having panic attacks, but they're flooding with them. They can't sleep at night because they're thinking endlessly about how they're going to screw up. It's terrible. You can't have a healthy, functioning life like this, whether you're avoidant or anxious, not long term. You're going to wear out. You're going to get depleted. Your brain chemistry is so far away from where it should be. Now, this is going wrong. What if you're in this situation? What if you're stressed out right now and you're thinking, Adam, all this video's done is making me feel worse? Okay, let's talk about that. Okay. If you want a loving, monogamous relationship for life, what do you have to do about these brain chemicals to get things back on track, to stay healthy, enduring, loving, intimate for the rest of your life? Okay. Let's talk about this. First, you need to target vasopressin. Vasopressin, number one thing, because if you're flooded with cortisol, you have a massive opportunity here to resolve that cortisol with somebody else's help, working with them, not having them do it for you and not doing it alone on your own. Solving the cortisol with those people will give you vasopressin bonding. As you do this, as you make this connection, your brain says, whoa, I have allies. I'm not alone. I'm also not powerless, right? I'm neither avoidant nor anxious. I'm actually focusing in on secure because I'm building this connection. I'm actually having a solid, healthy bond with other people. The number one predictor of long-term marital success, vasopressin. Vasopressin is the number one hormone you need to know about if you want long-term marriage success, okay? Because when you hit a crisis, your brain say, whoa, we're already programmed to work together. Let's immediately come together, solve the problem, boom, move on. Now, when you start building vasopressin, it's not blocked by high cortisol. This is why avoidant men first need to bond with vasopressin typically. You can do this by fixing your attachment issues together. It's one thing I work on when I have my guys come in for coaching. I say, you're going to solve this stress with other people. You're going to go through it. They vasopressin and oxytocin bond with other people as they go through the process of opening up and fixing it. It's an incredible bonding experience that just moves them. It transforms their life even the first time they experience it. Okay. They can never go back because it feels so good. So bonding properly through vasopressin, enormously important. It opens the door for the softness of oxytocin bonding. I like this person. I want to be around this person all the time. This is incredible. I hope they never leave me. What can I do to make sure we maintain it? You build maintaining behaviors. You start talking with them more, nurturing them more, connecting with them more, bonding with them more. The more oxytocin you get, the more it actually compels you to then be affectionate to the other person who then receives oxytocin, who then reciprocates it back to you. And you're like, this feels amazing. And then you open up and bond in return. Okay. This is why when couples get better in my couples coaching, I see them, they suddenly become affectionate toward each other, and then they keep doing it and they keep doing it and they keep doing it. And that cycles through and builds their oxytocin. We've got to get them in an upward spiral though, where they're both giving each other affection. That builds it. Now, as you build that oxytocin, the GABA comes back online, and the GABA suppresses and manages future cortisol. So now you're resilient against future expressions of stress. You're like, I got this. Things that used to bother you, like, man, I wonder why things don't bother me anymore. I don't know. I just feel good. I'm going to go hug my wife. Now, through all of this, you're replenishing serotonin. It helps you stay content through good conversation, through intimacy. This is where you're sitting there, you're relaxing, you have a great conversation with your partner. You're sitting there, you're sipping a glass of wine, you're looking out at your yard or whatever at the dark, and you're looking up at the stars. You say, wow, I got a great life. I love my life. It comes through vasopressin, oxytocin, GABA, serotonin. Man, I got a great life. I love this. This is what prevents guys who have like $100 million. They got like 5 houses. They got a private island. They got like 6 girlfriends scattered across the earth. And they're sitting on a beach going, man, I hate my life. When am I going to pass away? When is death? Is it 5 years? How much longer do I have? Versus the guy who's got one wife, maybe $10,000 in the bank if he's lucky. If he's got a car that's, half paid off. He's got an okay office job, but he's sitting there having great conversation with his wife, great connections with his kids. And he's sitting there in the evening going, I'm a king. I'm a king. This is why his brain chemistry is built to be content and fulfilled. And it's going to make him more productive. It's going to make a better life and better children, better family, better everything. Okay? Now, there's a lifelong rhythm to this process that protects monogamous relationships. Every so often, you're supposed to renew the vasopressin bonding by solving problems together as often as you can. Tackle cool things, build things, learn things, do things. As you solve new stress, introduce a little stress and solve it together. I don't mean pull a knife on your partner and be like, surprise. Women always joke about that. But no, don't do that. Don't stress them out. Introduce an element of stress. Like, hey, you know what? We should learn something together. Yeah, we should learn dancing. We should learn cooking. We should learn baking. We should renovate our house. We should do something cool together and succeed at it as a couple. Hell yeah, let's do it. This is what those experience vacations and stuff are all about, you guys. Okay? As you renew that, you renew oxytocin. You get new honeymoon, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 honeymoons. What if you could have 10 honeymoons across the course of your life and each one be just as passionate as it was when you first met? That's the power of this brain chemistry, you guys, okay? High GABA. GABA floods in. You become even more resilient against cortisol in the future. Even more serotonin, more fulfillment, more bonding, more happiness, okay? This is called the secure attachment pattern. You do this with your partner, with your friends, with your family, with everybody. This fosters the right brain chemistry for a fulfilling life and relationship. This is why for years now, you've heard me hammering on about secure attachment. It is the correct neurotransmitter and hormone bonding pathway. It is neurochemical. It's not just, oh man, I should talk to people about problems so I feel better. No! Build a neurochemical relationship structure that supports what your brain is meant for. Now, you should be getting these chemicals also from family and friends too, not just one source, not one partner, okay? The science behind that proves that. Dr. Sue Carter from the Kinsey Institute, she proves that if you're only getting your oxytocin source from one person, your fear and stress goes up because now you're on the edge of always losing that one source. You diversify to 2, 3, 4 people, all of a sudden that fear that plunges and your cortisol levels go way down. This science is why I push attachment theory. It is bound up in neurotransmitters and neurochemistry. All of it balances out together. This is about balancing the brain chemicals properly through behavior patterns and proper socialization to fulfill your biological needs. Americans right now use massive amounts of medications to treat biological issues that are normal reactions to bad environments and unhealthy relationship patterns. Attachment theory, I believe, could replace medication for many people who suffer severe mental health issues. I've seen it. There's studies out of Finland that show when you take people with schizophrenia and put them in intense family therapy programs with their families and fix their attachment, suddenly those people no longer need hospitalization. They don't need medication. And if they do have any future events, any future episodes, they are much less severe, much less frequent, much shorter, and they resolve much faster because the family cares about them. And they get better and better and better over time. Attachment theory and family work can fix schizophrenia, you guys. The research shows this. Now, I worked as a psychotherapist for many years, specializing in severe trauma and working with the most abnormal and challenging cases you've never even heard about, where several other therapists had given up. I was literally at the end of the hallway when they had cases no one could fix. They sent them to me. And during that work, I saw that attachment work improved the outcomes for every single patient, so long as they were capable of engaging in new social patterns to start better brain chemistry. Okay? Where medications failed, attachment work succeeded. I believe we should be using medication sparingly in most cases and as a bridge to help people overcome initial barriers to changing behavior patterns and socializing properly, and then wean them off those medications as the brain chemistry balances out. Again, research out of the Nordic countries shows gigantic improvements, even in schizophrenia, you guys, without therapy or without medication, with the full flux of family therapy. Resolving attachment issues can even fix schizophrenia. That's what we have learned. So if you're struggling in your relationships, if you're feeling unhappy, if you're wondering how to maintain a monogamous relationship or for life in 2024, if you're open to learning new behavior patterns, attachment theory is the answer. That's why I will continue beating on this for the rest of my life. Attachment theory has the answers for everything we've been asking for. Now, for everybody who's been here for years, thank you. Number one, thank you for being here. It's been an honor journeying with you, and I look forward to the future with you. You've heard me talk about these topics separately for many, many years. Now that I've put them all together here in this video, I hope you see the full picture about healthy relationships as the answer to mental health and relationship challenges. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not like get your brain chemistry right or you're miserable. And if you get your brain chemistry right, you're just neutral and unhappy. No, this is about being happy, fulfilled, having fun, having great relationships, right? Sitting there on your back porch, drinking your wine, saying, I am a king. My life is good. It's about laying in bed with your partner and just relaxing and just going, oh, this feels so good to be here with you. It's about sexual experiences that are fulfilling, fun, playful moments with your partner instead of grinding one out real quick just so that you can both feel a little better with some dopamine release later. It's about deep friendships where you feel really trusted, connected, understood, seen, right? It's about feeling like you can finally let your walls down because the people around you are worthy of trust and you can relax. It's all your biochemistry that you have always needed and didn't know how to get fulfilled. So I talk about this. I will continue to talk about this forever. Remember to check my Instagram community, where in particular, I am at Attachment Adam, because I talk at great length about these chemicals and how to foster them. So check the description below for my Instagram profile, or just check me out at Attachment Adam. I have a ton of material over there. People are fighting with me in the comments sometimes, and they don't want to hear the science behind it. That's okay. I'm going to continue teaching for everybody who wants to hear it. Okay. Now, in the next video, I recommend you check this out. The shocking link between attachment styles and mental health. That video is based on all my clinical experience working in the field, plus working with doctors who refuse to medicate for things like bipolar because they said they were behavioral challenges. I want you to check out that video. I would love to hear your thoughts on that video.